Profiles in Cinemania. Breaking the Fourth Wall. Hello there. At the beginning of the art house, magic, surrealist, weirdcore, commie, tragic horror film Rubber, one of the characters abruptly addresses the camera and informs the audience, us, that we are about to see a pure expression of style. How bracing, you thought. How different and almost alarming. The person you're supposed to be detached from as an audience member is addressing you directly and telling you what to think. You thought that was pretty cool. This is the idea of breaking the fourth wall, the invisible wall, the barrier that separates us from them, audience from performance. We can see through it and observe them. They cannot and are unaware of us watching. When a director chooses to break the fourth wall, they are breaking a promise we have agreed to when we bought our ticket and sat down with our popcorn. They promise to act like we're not there. We promise to pretend the fantasy we're watching is real, at least for a while. Breaking the fourth wall can be funny, dramatic, even shocking, depending on the style of the moment. But where did this idea come from? The idea that the promise can be broken at will like this. Won't somebody call the police? Actually, the idea of a fourth wall is a fairly new one, and in order to break it, the art of filmmaking had to invent the concept in the first place. From the beginnings of theatrical drama, the boundary between the audience and the performance was seen as a particularly porous border with incompetent guards and no passport control. The early days of Greek theatre would have actors performing in front of a chorus who would react to what is happening in place of the audience, providing reactions or guidance or a commentary on events, telling us what to think. Let's move ahead a little bit. Look at the early days of theatre as we understand the term. Modern theatre began in the theatre, by which I mean a building that was just called the theatre. They could get away with that kind of nonsense because it was the only one. Midsummer Night's Dream. At the end, the sprites and pixies and pucks apologize to the audience for all the merrymaking, and of course, we accept the apology, telling us what to think. And who can forget Henry V, once more unto the breach, dear friends. In dear Will's time, a breached fortress, walls stuffed up with our English dead, was a little beyond the special effects budget, and so the narrator figure speaks directly to the audience. Work your thoughts, and therein see a siege. Behold the ordnance on their carriages, with fatal mouths gaping on girded harfleur, telling us what to think, and just how to think it. Good old Will. In the theatre, the fourth wall is just as imaginary as everything else. We have to pretend it into existence while people on stage yell at us. In the hurly-burly of the 1920s and 1930s, Bertolt Brecht wanted to do away with the deceitful promises of fantasy and artifice altogether. His plays were deliberately designed to prevent the audience identifying with the performance and passively letting it wash over them. He wanted us to know we're watching a play of ideas and actions and decide for ourselves, consciously, whether we would accept what we are being given or not. Like being slapped in the face by a wet German fish. Not so much telling us what to think as demanding that we do think. Real fun at parties, that Berthold. Now just wait. There's a light coming around the corner. A silver light on a bright white screen. The cinema arrived, and suddenly the fourth wall became a real, tangible thing. It doesn't matter how much you love or hate or indifferently tolerate what you're seeing, the characters will never know. just try rushing the stage now. You'll find out how solid that fourth wall really is. In those early days, of course, we didn't yet have a language of cinema. The art form was little more than theatrical performance in black and white. Surely, at long last, we have our fourth wall. Well, not quite. Look at them, up there, waving and mouthing silently until a flash of black and writing appears. The speech cards, addressing the audience directly, announcing what was just said, telling us what to think. The silent era lasted less time than you might think, of course. It wasn't long before the technology improved and filmmakers really started to explore the possibilities on celluloid not open to mere grease paint and painted cloth. The age of sound came upon us with a shock, and we would soon no longer need those interstitial cards telling us what the people are saying. We can listen out for ourselves. What was the first sentence spoken aloud on film once they got the recording and syncing technology right? In 1927's The Jazz Singer, "Wait a minute, you ain't heard nothing yet." Still breaking that fourth wall. Still telling us what to think after all this time. Now we have the birth of cinema, real cinema, the stuff that gets remastered Blu-ray releases, and your film professor assures you stands up really well if you just give it a chance. Real life, or as near as the silver screen can manage, all presented in full sight and sound behind the invisible and impenetrable fourth wall. And before we can have those cheeky, winking, break the fourth wall moments, we needed centuries of technology and development and literature where there was no such thing, where the so-called fourth wall was a hazy agreement with the audience to play along with the make-believe, and an agreement that was cheerfully and regularly suspended. In fact, the concept of these fourth wall breaking moments in film are not the meta moments that mean you're watching something post-modern and cool. They are much more a return to a tradition stretching right back to the very beginning, telling us what to think. If you want to point out the real modern development, the thing that actually shows you're looking at something new and recently born, look at the fourth wall itself. Taking the long view, that thing is so new the paint is still wet. Or maybe you don't feel that way at all. Don't look at me. I'm not trying to tell you what to think. This has been another Profile in Cinemania. This episode is written and performed by Andy Slack, music courtesy of Epidemic Sound. Profiles in Cinemania is a product of the Cinemania Society, LLC.